Alright guys, today we are gonna be reacting to 5+ years living in Germany, pros and cons, American perspective. Let's jump in, guys.
Hello there everyone, hi, welcome to today's video where I'm going to be speaking about the things I do and don't like about living in Germany after more than 5 years of living here. Technically, it's been actually almost 6 years that I've lived here, but since I've taken like big periods, like big chunks of time where I've been in the States, like for a few months at a time, I'm saying it's more like 5 years when it all gets sort of rounded out in the end, but technically I think I've been a resident in Germany for almost 6 years. So if you're curious to hear about the things that I do and don't like about living in Germany after being here for more than 5 years, keep watching.
Okay, let's see.
So I'm going to start out with the things that I do like about living in Germany. And the first thing that immediately comes to mind when I think about what I really love about Germany is how green it is. I love that when I look out my window, there's trees, there's grass, there's flowers, there's plants, there's just lots and lots of greenery, and that's super nice and really refreshing. I spent the second half of my childhood living in Oregon, and Oregon is super, super green. There's lots of trees, lots of hiking, lots of rivers, just nature is a really big deal there, and so I really love that when I get up in the morning and I look outside, I see greenery. Now, of course, if you live in a bigger city, it's a little bit different, but it's not difficult to leave the city and go outside of the city just a little ways, and you'll be surrounded by lots of trees and grass and rolling hills and all of that stuff. So all in all, I feel like Germany is a pretty green country, and I really like that about it. The next thing on my list is how safe Germany is. I really, really appreciate that I don't feel really any fear when I go out of my house, when I go to the grocery store, when I walk around in the city. Like, of course, as a woman, I always feel a little bit cautious if I'm out late at night by myself or if I'm in a city by myself. But generally speaking, I feel pretty safe here, you know, especially when we are comparing Germany to the United States. And the United States, especially right now, is just such a scary and violent place with just so much hatred and just a lot of fear. Like, even if you're a child going to school or a parent going to the grocery store, you might have a little bit of fear about going to those places because there's been so much random acts of violence there. And I don't feel that way when I'm in Germany.
I agree with her. There's a lot of the United States right now is very unstable. There's certain demographics that commit a lot of crime, and if you have a lot of those demographics, it's gonna be very hard to have a very safe city.
Germany, I feel relatively safe here, which is really nice. Okay, next up on my list of things I like about Germany is bakeries. If you don't already know this about Germany, they love bakeries, they love bread and baked goods. It's a really, really big deal here. I really like the culture around going to the bakery. Like, if you go to the bakery in the morning, you'll see a big line outside of the bakery usually because everyone gets up in the morning and goes to buy fresh bread, especially on the weekends. And I really, really like that. I think it's really sweet and the bread is very, very tasty. So,
and very healthy, has no preservatives.
If you're ever in Germany, definitely go to a German bakery and just ask for what the person behind the counter thinks that you should buy. They'll probably give you a good recommendation. And the next thing up on my list for things that I like about Germany is that it's a very livable country. Like, people can actually work a normal job, even a minimum wage job, and make enough money to live here and not be constantly struggling. Now, of course, it's gonna vary depending on which city you live in. For example, if you wanna live in Berlin, rent is gonna be way, way, way higher. And I think it's even really difficult to get an apartment there. But if you're willing to live in a smaller city or just not as popular of a city, you're definitely going to be able to pay rent with the jobs that you can get in Germany. And on top of that, the government, like the Arbeitsamt, actually tries to help you find work and find a way to be a part of the society here. And I find that to be very, very cool. And this actually leads me into my next point, which is that there isn't a lot of homelessness in Germany. Now, of course, if you're going to be in a bigger city, you're definitely going to see homeless people or...
She's from Oregon, guys, so Oregon, I think she's probably Portland. That's why she's saying that, guys. Portland is a cesspool for homeless people. And she's saying that, I'm like, what in the hell? Right? And then I realized, oh, she's from Oregon. And I can guarantee you she's probably from Portland, Oregon. Let me just be quiet here for a second because I want to be very honest, but let's just hear what she has to say.
Perhaps if you're at the train station, you might see some homeless people. But generally speaking, the number of homelessness here is really, really low, especially when compared to the United States. I remember when I first took my husband and also when I took one of my best friends to the United States for the first time, and they were both really, really shocked by how many homeless people there were, especially in bigger cities, places like Los Angeles and San Francisco, a lot of homelessness. That's just something that you don't see to this extreme in Germany because, like I said before, Germany really does try to make sure that everyone has a way to make money and like a place in society.
That's
okay,
it. There
so
you
now
go.
for the cons about living in Germany.
Hey, don't dislike the video. Dislike her. I'm just reacting to this. Hey, let's see if we agree, disagree.
Well, I guess I would just start out with the fact that I've lived here for almost 6 years, which means almost 6 years without being able to see my family and friends whenever I want to. That's really, really hard. I think that anyone who's lived away from their family,
I agree
from
with
their
her.
sort of original home for as long as that can understand how it's extremely difficult to not be able to feel as connected with the people that you love, and I've really struggled with that. You know, I can't just pick up the phone and call my mom or my sisters or my dad whenever I want to because of the time difference. And while that may seem like a sort of small and insignificant thing, for me it's a pretty big deal. So that's definitely a really hard thing, although it's not Germany's fault. I just miss my family. Next up on my list of
How's that a con? I thought it was a con of living in Germany. That's a con for you, but not for Germany.
cons about living in Germany is that integration is really, really hard here. It's super, super hard to integrate into this society. I think that Germans are a little bit closed off. Like, it can be kind of hard to get to know people, and that plays a really big role in integration. I've lived here for almost 6 years, and the majority of people that I have created friendships with have all been from other countries. Like, they were other expats.
They're not getting it. See, they're not getting it. Because you have to embody I think people don't understand this, but you have to embody German culture in order for you to understand it, and then you can move around. These people don't get it. If I was her, I would just not only learn German, learn it well, learn where do German typically hang out, what kind of culture are they relevant. And you don't say like I will be in places where Germans are just there, and just try to be around German to really understand it, not to feel kind of isolated. But these people just come and think that they're gonna like them because in the United States you're supposed to like people. I don't think. How is it that I get it they don't? How is it that I get it that they don't?
Not all of them, of course. I've made friends with some German people, obviously a few, but generally speaking, the majority of people I felt like I really connected well with were other expats. And I think that just has to do with the fact that it's like we have shared experiences. And I also think it has to do with the fact that Germans can be difficult to get to know. They're not the most open people, whereas I would even say that I'm an overshare. I have kind of a big mouth. Like, I often say things that I shouldn't say when you're just meeting someone. And I think that's difficult for Germans. They're very cautious about who they give their time and attention to, if that makes sense. And that's not a bad thing at all. It's just meant that integration has been quite difficult. I would also add here that I've spoken to a lot of expats and immigrants about their experiences coming to Germany and trying to integrate here. And most of them had said that they also really struggled with this. And the ones who said they didn't struggle with it were all students. They were all living in student housing, dormitory kind of housing, or WGs with other students. And so they were kind of forced to integrate and were forced to have those friendships around them. And I think it makes a really big difference. Next up on my list, I have the fact that there is no Mexican food here, or at least no.
Guys, listen, guys. I'm Puerto Rican, and we even Puerto Ricans still like Mexican food. Is that the con? Really, that there's no Mexican food? Man, she has to be American. I swear by the angels, man. She has to be American, man. Cons because there's no Mexican food. Where I live, I'm from the island, from my Commonwealth, where I was born. It's so hard to find a Mexican restaurant. You know why? Because we don't like it. It's only Americans that live in Oregon or Idaho, I guess those places up west, right? That they cannot live without Mexican food. Bro, there's a Mexican restaurant right here where I live, and I never went there, and I don't want to. How can you say you cannot leave? Just make your own Mexican. That's not for me. That's not a con, guys. That is not. I cannot pass that as a con, guys. I can't. I simply can't.
No good, authentic Mexican food here. Now, this is of course like a little bit silly, but it really is kind of a big deal to me because I was born in Los Angeles and I grew up eating a lot of Mexican food. That was a really big part of my childhood. And I just find it really sad that it's so difficult to get Mexican food here. Of course, I understand why, because this culture isn't super present in Germany, which makes perfect sense, but it's still kind of hard and I find it a little bit disappointing. Also, if I want to buy Mexican food, like the products here, like if I want to buy tortillas, for example, the tortilla package will always have like a relatively racist picture of a little Mexican.
Oh, okay, that's enough of the video. Okay, that's enough of the video. Okay. Cultural appropriation. I don't know. You guys want to continue? I don't like this.
Guy with a sombrero on it or whatever, and I'm just feeling like, wow, like it's just very cultural appropriation. Like, I don't know, it's just not the best. So there's no Mexican.
Again, guys, don't dislike my video. I'm just reacting to this, guys. This is not my fault. This is her just giving you guys her experience about how you guys are culturally appropriating the Mexican hat because I guess there's a picture of a Mexican cartoon in the packaging and somehow that's racist. I don't know.
Food here, and if I do have the opportunity to find some Mexican food here, it's usually not in good taste. Next up on my list for cons about living in Germany is that there is no air conditioning here. You might not think about Germany as being a place that gets really hot, but wow, the summer can get really, really, really hot here. We have temperatures of like high 90s during the summer here.
That's not that hot. That's still livable. That is still very livable. But I guess during the night it can go down.
And it is boiling. It is so hot. And I just find it totally ridiculous that there's no air conditioning. Because I guess Germany's not thought of as a very warm place, or it's just not warm for very many months of the year.
Damn,
so
bro.
People just didn't think it was necessary.
She's grilling. I mean, it's her opinion, man. Just grilling, guys. I mean, well, that's like her experience. I don't know, guys.
To have air conditioning here, but wow, like our apartment that we live in right now, it has a sort of like attic, like a slanted roof for the bedroom, and it is like 1,000,000 degrees and there's no air conditioning. It's just horrible, and I just don't understand how Germans can go for so many years just suffering in these like extreme temperatures. So anyway, there's no air conditioning in Germany, just so you know. And then on my cons about Germany, I also have that the internet sucks. The internet is really, really bad here. The Wi-Fi is bad, the data is bad. There's so many times where I'm out walking and I take out my phone and I'll just have no service. Like it's like a bubble for like I don't know, a few meters where there's just no service. It's just really, really weird. The Wi-Fi is also problematic. We have had so many times where the Wi-Fi just completely dies and we have no idea why. It's like has nothing to do with our little router box or whatever. It's just really bad Wi-Fi. Like the connection's just terrible. And this has happened in almost every single apartment that we've ever lived in Germany over the past 6 years. So the internet is not great here. And I think the reason is because Germany, like they just choose to not spend money on good internet connection. It's just not one of the things that money tends to go to. That's as far as my understanding goes at least, but correct me if I'm wrong.
Damn, bro, I don't know, guys. She was speaking some weird stuff here. I just want to go to the comment section on this one, guys. I'm sorry. I'll say the hardest part is basically what everyone will go through moving to another country. That is educating yourself about the culture and learning to have respect for its differences compared to what you're used to. My personal perspective, I wouldn't have an issue with Germans being reserved because that's how I am too. In America, people expect you to be all bubbly and up instantly. To me, I have never trusted people enough until I get to know them for at least a month to truly see who they are. A lot of people have met in life always criticize me for being too close off, oftenly, but it's just my way getting to know people. Integration for Germans works through common interests, and I think that's what I said. Join club of people doing things like warding, cooking, soccer, dancing, chess, whatever else there is. Just about all my friends I met in such a way, even when I live outside Germany. That approach worked. That's what I told you guys. Older Germans make friends over these shared interests and over longer time. I think she's more about, I just want to call them, I just want to call, how can I say? She just wants friends to come over during dinner, I guess. Mexican American here commenting about a year after you post this. Just want to say we are proud to have our tío uncle on them tortillas with his sombrero. He made it all the way to Germany, low, so it's okay to buy them. Like, bro, even Mexican Americans are not mad at all, man. As a Mexican, I don't think that having a picture of a Mexican wearing a sombrero is racist. Mexican wear sombreros. That's part of the culture. So to show a Mexican person basically being Mexican on a Mexican food isn't racist. Only American Caucasian girls can get to that conclusion. I don't know, guys. Let me know what you guys think. Hey, that's a repeat and not mine, guys. I would love to hear you guys' opinion. In the meantime, guys, I'll see you next one.